All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling the IELTS. You know, that massive English test so many people have to take. We're going to demystify it, crack the code, really, by uncovering a hidden system for how to prepare, all based on this one comprehensive guide.
And if that question hits home, you are definitely not alone. I mean, the IELTS is a huge deal, right? It's for university, for work, for moving to a new country. It can feel like this impossible mountain you have to climb. But what if I told you there's a map?
So, here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to break down what the test actually is. Then, we'll look at the specific challenges, the listening and reading. After that, we'll get into the writing and speaking sections. And then comes the big reveal, the secret learning formula. We'll wrap it all up with an action plan just for you.
Okay, so first things first. You can't beat the test if you don't know the test. So let's deconstruct this thing and see exactly what we're up against.
All right, let's look at the breakdown. The whole thing is split into 4 parts: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. The first thing that should jump out at you are those timings. You get a full hour for reading and another full hour for writing. It tells you right away that managing your time is going to be absolutely key. And remember, this structure, it's the same for everybody.
Now, before you even start studying, you've got a big choice to make. You have to pick your path. Are you applying to a university? Then you're taking the academic test, plain and simple. Are you moving for a job or to migrate? Then you need the general training version. It's that straightforward. And just so you know, both of these can be taken as a special UKVI test if you need a UK visa. Getting this right is literally step 1.
Okay, let's dive into the first half of the challenge, listening and reading. Think of these as your input skills. The test is basically checking how well you absorb and process information that's thrown at you. So, in the listening test, you'll run into tasks like this all the time. Form completion. Here's the catch. You only hear the audio once. That's it. No replays. So you've got to be laser-focused, ready to snatch those key details, names, dates, phone numbers, out of the air while you're under pressure. So you'll be looking at a form just like this, the audio starts playing, and boom, you're filling in those blanks in real time. It's really a test of your active listening skills. Can you pull that crucial data out of a normal flowing conversation? That's the challenge. All right, let's switch to reading. And we have to talk about one of the most notorious question types: true, false, not given. This one trips up so many people. It's more than just finding words. It's about deep comprehension. You have to figure out if what you're reading directly supports the statement, flat out contradicts it, or, and this is the tricky part, if the information just isn't there at all. Okay, let's look at a real example. Imagine the text says the UKVI test follows the same format and content as the normal one. The question then asks if the UKVI version has different questions. So, what's the answer? True, false, or not given? Well, it's false, right? Because the text explicitly says it's the same. See? The test is checking if you truly understand the meaning, not just if you can match keywords. Okay, so we've covered the input skills, understanding what you hear and read. Now let's flip the script and look at the output skills. This is where you have to actively produce the language yourself. A really common task, especially on the general training test, is writing a short paragraph about yourself. Now, listen up, because this is important. The goal is not to write like Shakespeare. The goal is to be clear, to be organized, and to get your grammar right, all while staying inside a tight word count. Here's a perfect example. You see that word limit, 100 to 120 words? That's not a lot of space. What the examiners are looking for is simple, clear sentences that get straight to the point and answer the question. It's all about communication, not complication.
Now, for the speaking test. Part 2 is what a lot of people call the long term, and it can be pretty intimidating. Here's how it works. They hand you a cue card with a topic. You get exactly 1 minute to jot down some notes, and then you have to speak about it for up to 2 minutes straight. And this is exactly what a cue card looks like. See those bullet points? They're not just suggestions. They're your best friend. They're there to give your talk a structure, a logical flow. This part of the test is all about your fluency, how well your ideas connect, and basically, can you think on your feet? All right, so we've looked at all the pieces of the puzzle. Listening, reading, writing, speaking. It feels like 100 different things you have to master, right? But what if I told you there's a secret, a single, repeatable system, a pattern hidden in plain sight that you can use to prepare for everything? I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
How in the world do you master it all? With all these different skills and all these possible topics, how do you even begin to study without just feeling completely and utterly lost?
Well, here's the answer. And it's not some magic trick, it's a system. A simple, powerful 4-step formula that gets applied to every single topic. Whether you're talking about education, work, the environment, it doesn't matter. The system is the same. This is the code we're here to crack.
So let's break this formula down. Step 1 is all about vocabulary. Think of it this way. Every single topic has its own special set of keywords. Your first job, before you do anything else, is to learn that specific language. This is the foundation you're going to build everything else on.
Okay, step 2, grammar. And this is where the system gets really smart. Instead of just randomly studying a giant list of grammar rules, you focus on one specific rule for each topic. So, for example, when you're studying the environment, you'll be practicing conditional sentences. You know, if we do this, then that will happen. It makes grammar feel useful and practical, not like some boring textbook exercise.
Step 3 is all about creating flow. Linking words. Think of them as the glue that holds your ideas together. Words like however, therefore, because. They show the relationship between your sentences. Mastering these is absolutely essential for sounding coherent and, let's be honest, for getting a better score.
And finally, step 4. This is like your insider's guide, a simple list of do's and don'ts. These are the quick wins, you know? Super clear rules to help you steer clear of the most common mistakes people make. It's the stuff that helps you grab those easy marks that others might miss.
Okay, we've cracked the code. We've laid out the formula. So now, the most important part. How do we turn this system into your own personal action plan for success?
And listen, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Success on the IELTS is not magic. It's not about trying to become an expert on 20 different topics. It's about mastering one repeatable system and just applying it over and over. That is how you take this huge, overwhelming thing and turn it into something you can actually manage. So there you have it. You've got the map, you have the formula, you know the secret to cracking the IELTS code. The only question left is, what's your first step going to be?